Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Roger Hayes. I'm the Director of Law Enforcement Services for the Georgia Governor's Office of Highway Safety. Thank you for coming today as we kick off National Pedestrian Safety Month in Georgia. We're fortunate today to have several partners in attendance that you will be hearing from today. First, representing our host city of Chamblee today, please welcome Chamblee Mayor Pro Tem Leslie Robson.
Thank you. Thank you. I like it. I like being applauded. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Chamblee. We're proud to partner with the Governor's Office of Highway Safety to kick off National Pedestrian Safety Month at our brand new public safety complex. Look around. In the last 5 years, there have been 166 accidents involving pedestrians in the city of Chamblee. Unfortunately, 4 of those accidents resulted in pedestrian fatalities and 134 total injuries. Many of those accidents occurred along our major thoroughfares such as Buford Highway and Peachtree Boulevard. As part of our efforts to make our communities safer for pedestrians, our police department was the recipient of the Governor's Office of Highway Safety High Visibility Enforcement Grant. Through this grant, we will utilize funding for equipment and resources to reduce speeding in our neighborhoods, enhance safe driving, and change unsafe behaviors behind the wheel. We welcome you to the city of Chamblee and hope that you will join us in our commitment to ensuring the safety of everyone on our streets. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We do appreciate the opportunity to be in Chamblee today at this beautiful new facility. Next, it's my honor to introduce my boss, the Director of the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, Mr. Alan Poole.
Thank you so much, Roger. Let me say thank you to the city of Chamblee for hosting us here today for this kickoff. And thank our partners at GDOT, AAA Georgia, and NHTSA. NHTSA has designated October as National Pedestrian Safety Month. The goal of the Governor's Office of Highway Safety during this month is to make drivers aware, to have them to slow down and pay attention to the roads, because the increase in pedestrian deaths in our nation and in our state for the last 2 years must go down. Many people do not realize that we are all pedestrians virtually every day of our lives, including those that drive. Georgia has had more than 300 pedestrians killed in 21 and 22. Those numbers are too high. That's almost 100% increase over the last 10 years. There are several reasons for this increase, but 2 of the biggest are speeding and distracted driving. Speed limits are put in place to protect everyone on our roadways, including drivers as well as pedestrians and bicyclists. Safe speed is one of the 5 principles of the U.S. Department of Transportation Safe System approach, along with safer people, safer roads, safer vehicles, and improved post-care crash. When a mistake behind the wheel happens, the hope is that crashes can be avoided because drivers are traveling at a safer speed with complete attention on the roads. We should always be prepared to stop when we are approaching a school zone, a work zone, or a vehicle that's parked on the side of the road because of a malfunction or equipment issue. Keeping your eyes on the road and not on your phone will help us in this adventure. More than 80% of the fatalities in Georgia happens at night. With fall and winter fast approaching, daylight hours are being cut shorter, and we ask that you pay attention to these changes. Pedestrians are our most vulnerable road users, and we're asking every driver to help us to protect our pedestrians and cyclists on the road. So once again, on behalf of Governor Brian Kemp and the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, we encourage you to pay strict attention while behind the wheel of a vehicle. Once again, thank you, Madam Pro Tem, for honoring us here today, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Next, our federal partners, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Representing them today is Deputy Regional Administrator, Mr. Alex Cabral.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to address you today. My name is Alex Cabral. I'm the Deputy Regional Administrator for the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration located here in the regional office here in Atlanta, Georgia. We're here today to announce the upcoming Pedestrian Safety Month here in Georgia and bring awareness to pedestrian safety and the need to be extra vigilant when driving or walking to make sure everyone arrives home safely in our community. We are now in the fall seasons in the South, and many are enjoying the ability to walk more as the temperatures cool off from those hot summer nights and days. However, the dangers are ever present for pedestrians as way too many crashes, injuries, and fatalities affect these vulnerable road users, and caution must be used. Walking is an important aspect in our everyday lives. Walking is a great way to get physical activity. Walking is a great way to get physical activity and obtain health benefits. Walking does not require any special skill, gym membership, or expensive equipment. Additionally, many people rely on walking as a mode of transportation for everyday activities, leisure, and entertainment purposes. So as many more people are out enjoying walking, it is important for motorists to be on alert for pedestrians. The chances of pedestrians surviving a crash rapidly decreases when the vehicle's speeds is above 30 miles per hour. Please reduce your speeds in potential pedestrian areas. Unfortunately, in 2021, there were in the United States nearly 7,400 fatalities, pedestrian-related fatalities in the United States, a 12.5% increase from the previous year. On average, a pedestrian is killed in the United States every 71 minutes and injured every 9 minutes in traffic crashes in 2021. This is far too many pedestrians dying on the roadways. We have to change the way we approach traffic safety and change the culture that accepts tens and thousands of deaths on our roadways year after year. NHTSA and the U.S. Department of Transportation is doing this by embracing the safe system approach. The safe system approach is people-focused, meaning that infrastructure serves users' needs, not the other way around. It considers the needs of everyone on the roadway, not just drivers and passengers, but pedestrians, cyclists, children, older Americans, and people with disabilities. It focuses on the 5 key principles: safer people, safer roads, safer vehicles, safer speeds, and post-crash care. All these principles must work together for our transportation system to be safe for everyone. We need to ensure the importance of driver attentiveness to keep pedestrians safe. This includes highlighting the importance of safe driving behaviors. Safe driving behaviors by all road users are a key element of the safe system approach. How people generally use the roads is essential in determining the safety outcomes. Lapses in judgment or risky behaviors such as impairment from alcohol or other illegal substances, distractions, fatigue, or lack of seatbelt use contribute to thousands of fatalities per year. Additionally, we need to pay special attention where children live, play, and attend school. Drivers need to pay special attention to their surroundings and the need for them to focus on the driving task at hand, especially when you see a school bus putting down this stop arm and flashing its red lights. So remember, please drive with care. buckle up, obey the speed limits, focus on the driving task, and drive sober. Lives depend on it. Let's work together to ensure that everyone is able to enjoy this fall, whether with their family, friends, and loved ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex, very much. We appreciate you being here. Our statewide partner in this effort is the Georgia Department of Transportation. And today, representing the Georgia Department of Transportation is Assistant State Safety Engineer, Mr. Sam Harris.
All right, good morning. Thank you for having me here today. So one of my responsibilities in my role at the Georgia Department of Transportation is overseeing our safety engineering program. This includes facilitating what is called the Highway Safety Improvement Program funds for the state of Georgia. I'm here today to talk about pedestrian safety, and in general, vulnerable roadway user safety, and talk about what those trends that we see from our analysis here at the Georgia Department of Transportation. GDOT, aligned with our partners, many that are here today, are and will always be committed to the number one goal, and that is safety for all roadway users. As an engineer, I can't help but throw out some numbers. So 340 will be the first number I put out. This is roughly the amount of pedestrian fatalities we had on Georgia roadways last year. While this isn't all-encompassing from the total amount of fatalities we had for all roadway users, it is the emphasis area that has the highest amount of proportion in terms of rate increase. It is exponential when we look at it. 80%. Nearly 80% of our pedestrian fatalities happen at nighttime in dark conditions. 40 miles per hour. You have an 80% chance of getting into a crash with a pedestrian and a vehicle. There's an 80% chance that that pedestrian will survive that crash. And looking at 20 miles per hour, there's a 10%. And that's on many of our residential roads. So as you're walking through your neighborhood, there's a 10% chance if you get hit by someone going the speed limit that you could, unfortunately, be involved in a fatal crash. And lastly, I like to end on a positive note with my numbers. We are seeing a decrease this year compared to previous years in terms of our pedestrian fatalities. So that is something that we'll continue to build upon. VRU safety is on all of us, not just because you're a driver or you're a walker. At some point, we're all pedestrians, either walking to our car, walking to a transit station, or walking to back home. Moving forward, the Georgia Department of Transportation is committed on pedestrian safety by putting together our first vulnerable roadway user assessment, by putting together our first rural active transportation plan that focuses on VRU and pedestrian safety in our more rural counties in the state, and continue pushing forward many of our VRU focused projects that are currently under design and under construction. Our dollar values in terms of what we're spending at the Georgia Department of Transportation for vulnerable roadway user or pedestrian safety at our all-time high. So just to leave off, in terms of the risks that we're seeing when we analyze all the crash reports within our engineering section, high speed, dark conditions, DUI, risky behavior, distractedness, drowsy, if you're near schools, transit stops, areas with high social vulnerability, and more importantly, on our interstate system, if, instead of getting out and trying to change your tire, especially dark at night, call Champ, call Hero. They'll come out and assist you. That'll be a much safer way to go about it. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Harris, and the Georgia Department of Transportation for all y'all are doing to help keep us safe in the state of Georgia. One of the largest highway safety advocates nationwide is the AAA Auto Club. Today we have joining us the Georgia Public Affairs Director, Mr. Garrett Townsend.
Good morning. Let me share a few names with you. Glenn Ewing, David Meyer. These were two people that selected as their career the desire to help people on the roadway. But unfortunately, Glenn, who had a fiance and 2 children, and David are no longer with us. Why? Because they were killed on the roadway while trying to assist other motorists. These fatalities are happening much too often. So this month, in fact, every month, every day, it's our desire to bring awareness to the dangers that present themselves on the roadway. Now, between 2015 and 2021, over 1,600 people were killed on the roadway while in a disabled vehicle. And I want to repeat that, over 1,600. These are people that for one reason or another, perhaps they had a flat tire, perhaps they ran out of gas, whatever reason it was, they were killed on the roadway. This is in addition to the number of providers or toll providers. This is happening far too often, and too many people are losing a brother, a sister, a son, a father, because of these careless acts. Because of that, really, AAA is in support of the safe system approach. Because embodied in those principles, specifically safer people, safer roads, and safer speeds, is the ability for every person, every roadway user to take ownership and realize that there are other people sharing the road with you. Their lives are important as well. In a recent survey that AAA conducted, we wanted to find out, why is it that people aren't complying? In some cases, people just not are aware, they're ignorant of the slow down, move over laws across the country. In Georgia, moving over to an adjacent lane if it's safe to do so, if not slowing down to a speed that would allow a person to stop. We also find that, of course, people are distracted. Unfortunately, they have their cell phones in their hands. They're talking. Perhaps they're talking to other passengers in the vehicle. That serves as a distraction as well. But it's not an excuse. So what's AAA's advice for drivers? One is to remain alert. And everyone before me has said the same thing. Eliminate distractions. Focus on the task of driving. Keep an eye out on emergency vehicles. In fact, not just emergency vehicles, not just those toll providers, but anyone else who may be stranded on the roadway. And if it's safe to do so, allow them enough room by perhaps getting to an adjacent lane if it's safe. Slow down. Slow down. And then lastly, for those perhaps that are in a situation where you find yourself on the roadway, perhaps you've called AAA, you're just waiting for them, or CHAMP, or HERO, we urge them to pull over as far as possible on the shoulder. Turn your hazard lights on so that other drivers are aware you're in distress. We already mentioned call for assistance. Remain with your vehicle as long as it's safe to do so. So all of these things, all of these measures, if we take ownership of it and we apply them as motorists, it will not only keep ourselves safe, but it'll keep all the other motorists on Georgia highways safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. On May 11, 2022, Deputy Walter Jenkins of the Rockdale County Sheriff's Office was struck and killed while directing traffic. Deputy Jenkins had retired from the College Park Police Department with 26 years of experience and began serving with the Rockdale County Sheriff's Office for 2 years as a reserve deputy. Deputy Jenkins was a seasoned motor officer and experienced crash investigator. He was only 54 years old. Investigator Billy Burrell retired from College Park PD with Deputy Jenkins, and they were hired together at Rockdale County SO to start their motor unit and assist with crash investigations. Investigator Burrell credits much of his career to Deputy Jenkins as his best friend and mentor. Please join me in welcoming today Investigator Billy Burrell.
Good morning. On behalf of Sheriff Eric Levitt and the entire Rockdale County Sheriff's Office, we appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to you here today. Deputy Jenkins and I developed a close working relationship early on at College Park. I loved traffic enforcement early on in my career, and I was driven to becoming an expert at DUI after losing one of my close friends and mentors that got me into law enforcement to begin with. So when I met Jenkins, we hit it off. We had the same passion. And it didn't take long for him to pique my interest in learning the art and the science behind reconstructing crashes, how crashes happen. He was someone I could rely on when I needed some help, and there were plenty of times where I just could not figure out how the crash happened. But when he got there, it all made sense. He was an expert at it, and he was very good at it. We worked many pedestrian crashes just like the one that took his life. Jenkins was one of the officers who taught me how to ride a police motorcycle. And it was hard for me to trust my developing skills, but when he was beside me, when we rode together, it was like I'd been riding for years. It was like second nature, because I was comfortable with him, and it was weird when we weren't together. Over the years, we became very close friends. I spent more time with him than I did my own family. Jenkins loved SWAT, and after I joined the SWAT team, we worked side by side. And SWAT's foundation is all about the team, because you're trusting your fellow SWAT officer to have your back. And that's exactly what Jenkins did. He had my back. When we got to Rockdale, the job of riding motors was, in my opinion, the best job as a cop. Not just because you got paid to ride a motorcycle all day, but it was because I was riding with my best friend. I was riding with my riding partner. From working crashes to DUIs to riding motors and working SWAT together, we formed a bond that I will never be able to replace. He was welcomed by my family, and my own son called him Uncle Jenkins. Where you saw Jenkins, you saw me, on and off the job. And one thing I'll always remember is his big smile, his big personality. He never met a stranger, and he had a knack of breaking the ice in awkward situations with anybody. Once you had a chance to talk with Jenkins, your bad day just wasn't that bad at all. Jenkins left behind 2 sons, 1 daughter, 2 sisters, his mother, and countless friends and colleagues. It's been a rough year and a half. The police memorial where he was put on the wall was an unforgettable moment. And to this day, our office still receives letters and sympathy cards, so the loss remains fresh. But we try to make the best of it by having events in his honor and in his name, because that's what he would want us to do. It's the best way to keep his name alive and to keep his contribution to our profession fresh. I stopped calling them accidents because it takes an act for a crash to happen. It just doesn't just happen out of happenstance. The message from these tragedies should be all drivers, especially young and inexperienced drivers, have to pay attention and slow down. Despite all the technology in the cars today, it still takes a focused driver behind the wheel, constantly looking in all directions. This was yet another crash that could have been avoided. Jenkins was truly a one-of-a-kind, and I miss him every day. But I know where he is because we shared the same faith in God. I feel he watches over me, and my determination to make him proud is the driving force for me moving on. Thank you.
Thank you, Investigator Burrell, for your words today, as well as your and Deputy Jenkins' service to all of us. So on behalf of GOHS Director Alan Poole, We'd like to thank all of our speakers for coming out today. We'd also like to thank our media partners for their partnership and help us in getting this life-saving message out. We simply could not do it without you. Finally, let me remind everyone to always be alert for pedestrians. Safer drivers save lives. Thank you very much.